This is a calculator section, March 2022. Okay, number one. It is estimated that humans begin REM sleeps 90 minutes after falling asleep. Based on this estimate, how many seconds after falling asleep do humans begin REM sleep? So this one, simply they ask you how you're gonna change it from minute to second. Okay, so 90 minute times 1 minute, 60 seconds. So cancel out. So 5,400 seconds. Okay, so answer B. Unit conversion. Number two, the function g defined by g of x is for x minus 2. What is the value of g of negative 3? So simply you substitute negative 3 here. So 4 times negative 3 minus 2, negative 12 minus 2, so negative 14. D. Number 3, the line segment AC shown, the length of the line segment BC is 2 times the length of line segment AB, which equation represents the situation. So this one is twice of AB here. So this is 2x, right? So 2x equals 20. So answer D. Okay. Number 4, two people sweep the floor. The table gives their sweeping rate in square yards per minute. So if each person sweeps the floor for 5 minutes, so how much greater of an area in square yards does the Eric sweeps than Jeremy? Okay. So each person sweeps for 5 minutes. Okay. So you can find out first their rate difference, because how much greater area Eric sweeps than Jeremy. So Eric rate minus Jeremy rate will be 4. Okay. 4 square yard per minute will be the difference. So that much Eric sweep more than Jeremy. And then for 5 minutes, so you multiply 4 times 5. So 20 square yards, Eric sweeps more than Jeremy. So answer A. Okay. Which expression equivalent to this one? So you can distribute. So 3x to 6 plus 9x to 5 minus 8x to 4. So answer is B. Okay, just distribute property. Number 6, the function f defined f of x equals 2x minus 4. What is the y-intercept? Y-intercept means you need to set x equals 0 and solve for y. So y equals 2 times 0 minus 4, so negative 4. So 0 comma negative 4, answer D. Okay, number 7. The table summarizes the number of public schools in 2 California counties in 2017. So they have a 2 county, Los Angeles and San Diego. Now the public middle school will be selected random from the 2 counties. Now what is the probability to nearly the 100th of selecting school in San Diego County? Okay. So middle school. So you need to look at only here, that row. So out of 587, what is the probability to select San Diego County, which is 165? So 165 out of 587. So you put in the calculator. 587. So I got 0.28 around. So C. Okay. Number 8, a museum built a scale model of the solar system throughout the city, where 1 mile in the model represents the actual distance 400 million miles. So the model of the sun is x miles away from the model of the earth, and which expression represents the actual distance in miles between earth and sun. So what is the actual distance in miles? Okay, So if it's X miles away in the model. So 1 mile in the model, that represents 400 million miles. So 400 million times X will be answer, right? So you can, if you want to make a ratio, 1 mile in the model, 400 million in actual, right? So then X miles in the model, how much, right? So when you cross multiply, 1 times question mark, and then 400 million X. Okay, so answer is A. Number 9. The list shown gives the height in inches for the 6 10-year-old children in a group. A 7th children height 60. Okay, that means highest one out of this will be added to the group. And which of the following correctly describes how the mean and median of the group will change the 7th child, which is a 60 inches, is added. So when you put in order, this one in order basically. So right now, let's talk about median first. Median in this group here, because even number of numbers, so take the average of two numbers in the middle, which is 54, 54, their average is 54. So original mean, 54. Now, when you add 60 here in the data, now total 7 numbers, so 6 is 1, it's this, right? So new mean is also 54. So your median, not gonna change it. So median is increase or decrease? No. Should the median remain the same? Now, when you talk about mean, since the number added is a 60, is the highest number in the data, then mean automatically will increase, right? So C will be answer. Now, number 10 and 11, based on the data value here. In a certain school district, 36 high school students were selected random for a study. So those dots total 36 dots. On internet use and offline reading habits. During October, each student reported the average amount of time to the nearest half hour spent reading offline on Saturdays, and average amount of time to the nearest half hour spent using internet on Saturdays. Okay, so this one reading offline, x-axis. This one is time spent using internet on the y-axis in hours, right? But they're each grid is representing half an hour. The scatter plot above shows the time recorded by the student, and then a line of best fit also shown. Okay, let's read it. The line of best fit underestimate one student's recorded average time spent using internet on Saturday by more than 2 hours. Okay, by more than 2 hours. How many hours did this student report to reading offline? Okay, so this student reported more than 2 hours. So in here, so you gotta watch out. This one here is not 2 hours like that. This is actually 1 hour. So 2 grid is 1 hour. So which one is in the data here? The spend using internet. So they underestimate more than 2 hours. So underestimate more than 2 hours. So your best fitting line is below 2 hours. So that is this, right? So that's a 1 hour, 2 hour. So around like 2.5 hours underestimate. So they talk about this one. And then how many that students, how many hours did the students report to reading offline? So they talk about X value for that student, 1.5. So answer B. Okay. So you have to see which dot they represent in the description. So should it be that point? Now 11. According to the line of best fit, if a student spends average 1.25 hours reading offline, 1.25. So somewhere here on Saturday. And which of the following is the best estimate of time the students would be expected to spend using internet on Saturdays? Okay, so if you go best estimate, if you go up here, so somewhere here, so that means between 2.5 and 3. So answer C. Okay, you gotta read from the graph. Now let's move on. Number 12. Line K defined y equals negative x plus 5. J is a parallel, so same slope. So they ask you just a slope. So the answer, negative 1. Okay, parallel means same slope. Perpendicular means opposite reciprocal. So in this case, what is the slope of the perpendicular line? Should be 1. Okay. Number 13. For a survey, students were assigned to either group R or V and combined the students in both groups answered total 17 questions. Of these, a total of 9 questions were answered by the students in group V. The questions 4 plus 9 is 17 describes this situation. So this one is in group V. This one must be group R, right? Because they have a total 17. Where R represents the number of questions answered by each student in group R. So which of the following best interpretation of 4R in the context? Okay. So this one is a number of questions answered by students in group R, right? So that is a 4R in here. Because total 17 questions and 9 represent number of questions answered by group V in here. So then 4 means total number of questions answered by group R. Okay. Next one, number 14. How many solutions does the equation have? So when you distribute, you end up with 5x plus 5 equals 5x plus 5, which means equivalent equation. That means infinity, many solutions. Okay, they are overlapping same line. So their overlapping point should be infinite. Number 15, the table shows the result of survey on the average amount of money D in dollars and consumers would be willing to spend on the product and their corresponding age A in years, and then which equation represents the linear relationship. So best way to do this, so it's like pick any your convenient number and then see which one makes sense. So let's see, when you plug it in, this is A and this is a D. Okay, so when you plug it in, okay, first of all, you can find the slope. 36 minus 42, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I'm using that 2 point. 42 and 28, comma 36. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That is a slope. So slope is negative 6 over 3, so negative 2. So which equation slope is negative 2? So answer A. Okay, so you can plug it in that value. So let's say number A 25, you plug in 25 here, negative 2 times 25 and plus 92. So negative 50 plus 92, that is a 42. So that works like that. And then you can check if you want more data in the table. Okay. Now, number 16. Okay. They gave you that equation, and then x is a solution to the given equation. What is the value of x plus 1? Okay. So when you subtract minus 2x plus 1 both sides, then that is just 2x plus 1, right? Because 4 minus 2 is a 2. And that cancels out and then leave it 6. So they ask you x plus 1, so you divide by 2 both sides, so 3. So answer B. Let's move on. Number 17. The initial number of bacteria is 10,000. The bacteria in population are observed to double, okay, every 12 hours. So which graph represents the number of bacteria y in 1,000 x hours after initial observation? So when x equals 0, you should get 10,000. So it's in 1,000 anyway, so it should be 10. So that is, I think everything is 10. Now, so 12 hours later, it'll be double. Okay, so then when you put 12, should be double, so which is a 20. Okay, or if it's then 24, double again, so 20 times 20 is a 40. So when you plug in 20, which one represent 40? So this one looks like okay. And then the other one, this is not. That one is not top 4, 40. Not this. Not this. So answer has to be this one. Okay? It's because every 12 hours double. So initially, right, when x equals 0, when x equals 12, when x equals 24. Every 12 hours, it will be double. So initially it was a 10, 20, and double of 20 is a 40. That's what I used. Okay? So that represents this graph. Let's move on. Number 18. Now this box and whisker plot, it comes out on SAT a lot. Looks like almost every time they put it on the test. Make sure you know what each critical point represent. So this one is a minimum. This one is a maximum. And range is maximum minus minimum. And that represented here, that's a median. Okay, and then this one here and this one here, that's what we call first quartile and third quartile. Third quartile. And then interquartile range, third quartile minus the first quartile. Okay, that's what we call interquartile range. And another important thing you should know is this one is a 25% of data value, 25%, and 25% of data, 25% of data. Okay, even if this one is a shorter compared to this, also still 25%, 25% of the data. Okay, I want you to remember that. So now in this box plot or whisker box whisker plot, shown summarize the data in each of the 4 data set. Which of the data values has a set range of 6? Range is, as I said, max minus minimum. So which one? It looks like their range is a 6. Okay, if you look at the data D, so that is a maximum 9, minimum 3. So that is represent range of 6. Okay, we can move on. Number 19. A forest contains a different species of trees. Let T represent total number of trees in the forest. H represent the total number of hickory trees. Okay, H is the number of hickory trees. K represent the number of oak trees. A tree is selected random from the forest, which expression represent the probability of selecting tree that is neither hickory nor oak tree. Okay. Total number of trees is T. So probability, I'm gonna do opposite probability, or you can do this: H plus K. That is the total number of hickory tree and oak tree out of total. So that is actually opposite, right? But you're looking for what is the probability neither hickory or nor oak. So you're gonna do 1 minus of that will give you answer. Okay, so this one represent probability it will be hickory or oak. So 1 minus that is it will be neither hickory nor oak. Okay, so which one represents that? Definitely not this. So then t is 1 is a t over t minus h plus k over t. So that is t minus h minus k over t. Answer B. Okay. Number 20. In the xy plane above shown, the quadrant labeled 1, 2, 3, 4. The equation, they give you vertex form or parabola here, where h and k represent positive constant is a parabola, and which quadrant vertex. So those are h and k, they are positive. Okay, so then, so let's say example, negative x plus 2 square plus 3, like example, because I put positive constant. So your but vertex form is, I want you to remember that, a x minus h square plus k. That is a vertex form, and vertex is h comma k. So in here, h is opposite sign of 2, positive 2, so negative 2 comma 3. So where's a negative, this is a vertex. Where's a negative 2 comma 3 located? Should be quadrant 2. So answer is B. Okay. So you plug it in some values, then you can figure it out. Number 21. At the beginning of the day, there were 500 items for sale in a store. The number of items for sale at the end of the day was R% less than the number at the beginning of the day. So end of the day, R% less than the number at the beginning of the day. And which expression represents the number of items for sale at the end of the day? Okay. So should it be at the end of the day is R% less. Okay. So you're gonna subtract. So in the beginning was a 500 initial value. 1 now minus, because it will be percent less. Percent more, then you're gonna add, but percent less is you have to subtract. And then R%, so R over 100. Okay, so which one represent this? So when you combine, 1 is 100 over 100. So that means 100 minus R over 100 times 500. Answer is A. Okay, so let's say this is 20% less than in the beginning, then 1 minus 0.2. Okay, so 0.2 means you can say 20 over 100. That's also 0.2. So that represents like that. If it's 20% less than. Okay, if it's 20% more than, then 1 plus 0.2. Your 0.2 means also 20 over 100. So 20% more. Okay, you can think that way. Number 22, the area in square inches of a certain right triangle is given by the equation A equals 1/2 base times height. So it looks like a 2b represent height, because it said that b is the length of the one of the legs of triangle, and which expression represent the length of the shortest leg. Okay, so in a right triangle, b and 2b. So shortest leg talking about this. Okay, so just answer B. They checking you understand what is leg. So this is not leg. Okay, that is what we call hypotenuse. So you have a 2 leg here, but shortest leg should be just B. Okay. Number 23. Scientists took 94 ice core sections from a glacier, and each section was in the shape of the right circular cylinder and had a length of 1 meter in the diameter. 1 meter in length. So let's say, let me draw one shape of the circular cylinder. So it said 1 meter in length, right here, and diameter 0.1. This one is 0.1 meter diameter. And which of the following is the closest the total volume of 94 sections? So they said each section has a this one. So what you can do is volume of a cylinder is a pi r square times height, and then total number of that section is 94. Okay, so 94 times, you're allowed to use a calculator, so you can put it whole thing at once. Pi r is 0.1 is a diameter, so divided by 2 will be your radius. Point should be times 0.1 over 2, so that's a r, that one square times the height is a 1. Okay, so you're gonna put all things at once. So 94 times pi. If you don't have pi button, you can plug in just 3.14 or fraction 22 over 7. You can put it, and then 0.1 square, and make sure you divide by 4, because 0.1 over 2 square, so 0.1 square over 4 divided by 2 square, which is divided by 4. So I got around 0.7, okay, nearly some tenths. So it should be this. Okay. Number 24. In the figure of GE, okay, GE and DH intersect point F, and which of the following additional statement is R sufficient to prove triangles DEF is similar to HGF? So they are similar. So okay, if you recall from geometry, how you gonna prove two triangles are similar? You have basically 3 similarity. AA similarity. As long as 2 angles are similar, then they are similar. I mean, as long as the 2 angles are congruent, they are similar. And then SSS similarity means all corresponding sides are in proportion. Okay, in proportion. It's not congruent. As long as all the corresponding sides are in proportion, then they are similar. And also SAS similarity means 2 sides are in proportion and angle between must be congruent, then they're similar. So if you look at the 1 and 2, it said first of all intersect there. So okay, so what we know, this one congruent angles by vertical angles. The length of DE, and 1/3 of HG. Okay, so if this one is 1/3 of this one, let's say this one 1 and this one is 3. Okay, so is this sufficient? No, actually, I don't know. I don't know with that. So none of them I can apply here. So 1 is not. Now let's read second one. TE parallel to HG. Okay, now what they're saying is, let me erase here. Oops. So what they're saying is, what if they are parallel? Okay, if they are parallel, you can say this angle congruent. Why? If 2 parallel lines cut by transversal and alternate interior angles are congruent. So similarly, this angle also congruent by same region. I'm gonna mark it. So this one, same angle. So this one already shows it all the angles so congruent. So that's sufficient enough to prove 2 triangles are similar. It's not congruent. What I'm talking about is a similar. Okay. So second one is sufficient, but not the first one. Okay. If you remember this, it will be helpful. Number 25. The scatter plot shows the relationship between 2 variables x and y, and a line of best fit for the data is also shown. Which data point has an actual y value that is 2 more than y value predicted? Okay, so which one has a 2 more than predicted? So which data point represent the predicted one means is in the best fitting line, and then the actual one is dot. And then remember, this each grid represent is a 2 actually, not 1. Okay, so they talk about this one then. So that is, if you look at closely, so from here is that is a approximate value, but actual value here. So that is a 1 grid above. So that means 2 more than the value predicted, right? So because if you look at here, oops, that is actually 30 here, right? 30. So 2 higher than predicted. So they talk about that one. So that coordinate is a 5 comma 30. Okay, so answer is D. So you gotta be careful when you read this one. This one represent each grid is 1, but each one here is a 2. Okay, it's kind of misleading graph because their grid value is different x in x and y. Yep, you gotta be careful. Let's move on. Number 26. A plant's height is 1.25 is a height from last week. What was the percentage increase? Okay, so let's say last week was 100 and this week is 125. Because when you multiply 1.25, it'll be 125. So how much percentage is different? So 25% increase, right? So from 100 to 125, then 25% increase. Answer is D. Okay, so you make it in the beginning 100, and then 100 times 1.25 is 125. So 25% increase. 27. In a forest, white pine trees between 15 and 45 years old grew 36 to 48 inches in height each year. And a 15-year-old white pine tree growing in the forest was 200 inches tall. 240 inches tall. And then which of the following inequalities gives all possible values of tree's height, h in inches, at the end of the 45th year? Okay, so let's say h is represent the value. So should it be between? Should it be between? So it said 15-year-old white tree growing was 240 tall. So what you have to do is from 240, right? From 240, because in the beginning 15 years, right? So 45 years, that means 30 years later from that one. So 240 is in the initial height plus 30 times, right? 30 means the years from 15 to 45, so 30 years later. And then it could be 36 or 48. So smallest one is every year it'll grow only 36 inches. But greatest one possible is every year 48 inches. So that represents the maximum height possible, and this represents the minimum height possible based on the data. Okay, let me repeat that. So 240 inches in the year 15. Now from 15 to 45, 30 years later, but each year it could grow 36, 48. So minimum 36 every year and maximum 48 every year. So from 240 in the beginning and 30 years, each year 36, that's the minimum height it'll grow. And then 250 in 15 years old, and next 30 years, and the maximum height it can grow is every year 48. You multiply, then add up. So that give you range, right? Where to where. So when you compute this one, so that's 1680 when you put in the calculator, and the other one is 1320. So answer T. Okay. So read it. Read the description, and then you can make inequalities. Number 28. P% of x equals 3. So P%, P over 100. Over means times x, is means equals, and 3. So which expression represents x in terms of P? So you need to isolate x from there. So how are you going to isolate? You multiply reciprocal, which is 100 over p both side. Then this one cancel, so only x left. That's what we want. And 300, or you can leave it. It said basically 100 times 3 over p. So answer C. Okay. Next one, number 29. F of x 3 to the power of negative 2 times x plus 1. Which of the following equivalent forms of the given function f displays as the base or the coefficient and y coordinate of the y-intercept? Okay, so let's see. Which one displays also y-intercept? So what is a y-intercept? Y-intercept means set x equals 0 and then solve y. Let's do that first. So when x equals 0, what happened? Negative 3 to the power of negative 2. 0 plus 1 is 1. So 3 to the power of negative 2, which means 1 over 3 to the square, 1 over 9. So which one displays y-intercept? 1 over 9. So it looks like this, because I see that y-intercept it displays in the equation. Let's see, they are actually same. So what I can do here, so 3 to the, when you distribute negative 2 into each one, negative 2x minus 2. Okay, so how come that one same, right? 3 to the negative 2x times the 3 to the negative 2, like that, right? You can split by multiplication. And then that means you can change this one into 3 to the negative 1 to the 2x power times 3 to the negative 2. You can make it 3 to the negative 2 is 1 over 3 to the 2, right? So which is 3 to the negative 1 is 1/3 to the 2x power times this one 1 over 9. So that is same expression as this one. Okay, so you can change it like that, and then make sure it shows, it displays the y-intercept, which is 1 over 9. So you already know answer should be this, but I just want to prove it. That is an equivalent expression. Number 30. Two different store owners in shopping center estimated the percentage of all visitors who wear eyeglasses. And then they each selected a random sample shopping center visitors and recorded whether the visitors were wearing eyeglasses. The results from each sample are shown in the table below. Okay, they give you also each margin of error and percentage of visitors wearing eyeglasses. If the associated margin of error was calculated the same way for both samples, which of the following is the most likely reason that the result for sample A has larger margin of error? Why this one is a margin of error 3% and this one? Okay, when they ask you in SAT margin of error, it's about sample size. So if a sample size is bigger, then your margin of error will be smaller. Okay, so that means this shows bigger margin of error. That means the sample size is smaller. Okay, so if you get the concept, you can read it and then see which one. So actually, answer should be then B, because B margin of error is smaller, right? 2%. So that means what? Sample B included more visitors. So more visitor means more sample size. Sample size is bigger. That's why it's a smaller margin of error. So remember, sample size bigger, then margin of error will be smaller. Okay, that's the concept. If you know that, you can choose right answer quickly. Now grading problem, number 31. A limestone stalactite grew in length at the rate of 1/8 of the millimeters per year. At this rate, how many years would it take for this stalactite to grow a total of 4 millimeters? Okay, and then the rate is 1/8 per year. So you can make a kind of proportion also. So per year, each year it will grow 1/8 of millimeter. Okay, so how long it will take to 4 millimeters, right? So you can make a proportion. So you can cross multiply 1/8 t equals 4, and then when you multiply 8 both sides, 4 times 8, 32. So it will take 32 years to grow 4 millimeters. Okay, so make a proportion. 32, they give you system. The solution to the system of equations is xy. What is the value of 2x? So we're looking for 2x, remember that? You can highlight it like that. And then this one, I'm going to add up to eliminate y, because you're going to end up with then 2x equals 14. Then answer is a 14, right? Because they ask what is 2x. So always look for fastest way. If it requires only like small computation like this, then you have a less chance to make a mistake. So try to find out like simplest way. That's the best way to solve SAT math problem. Okay. Next one, number 33. So they gave you 3 root x minus 3 plus 10 equals 22. What is x minus 3? So I see that here. So let's manipulate. So 3 root x minus 3, when you subtract 10 both sides, so that equals 12. Now you divide by 3, root x minus 3, so 4, and then square both sides, so x minus 3 is 4 square, 16. Then you're done. Okay, try to make that expression. So a lot of times you don't need to solve for x. Just change it to that expression. Now number 34, they gave you a table. So the table gives the average speed as in mile per hour, mph, of each lap around the track for one racing team. For how many laps was the average speed greater than or equal to 150 mph? So if it's greater than 150 mph, it shows right here, right? This is not greater than 150. So that how many laps total, right? In here. So because they ask you for how many laps was average speed greater than, so you just add up. So 57 plus 52 plus 35 will give you 144. That will be answer. Okay, just ask you in the table, average speed is over 150, and then how many laps? So that's a total 144 laps. Okay. Next one, number 35. Aditi and Bella each attempt the long jump 5 times during the track meet, and their distance are shown in the table, and the mean distance of Bella's attempts was 0.3 meter greater than the mean distance for Aditi's attempt. So what is the value of x? Okay. So you can find out their average first. So what is the average of Aditi long jump distance, right? So you add all of them and divide by 5, right? So let's do that then. 4.2 plus, I'm talking about the mean, or you can say average here. So mean distance. So mean is you add all of them and divide by 5 of times. So 4.2 plus 3.8 plus 3.2 plus 4.0 plus 4.3 divide by 5. So I got 3.9 mean value for Aditi, 3.9 meter. Now Bella, the mean value for Bella, 0.3 meter greater than that. So if you add 3, if you add 0.3 from here, that's a 4.2. So mean for Bella should be 4.2. So you can set up x plus 4.4 plus 3.7 plus 3.8 plus 4.6 divided by 5 or 10 will be 4.2. Okay, and then you can solve for x from here. So what I'm gonna do, 4.2 times 5, okay, and then minus 4.4, minus 3.7, minus 3.8, minus 4.6 will give you answer. So x is 4.5. Okay, so using average you can. So what I did is find out additive's average by adding this all up together and divide by 5. I got this. And it said Bella's average is 0.3 more. So you add 0.3 from here. Now I got Bella's average, right? And how you gonna find out Bella's average? So you add all of them, divide by 5. That equals 4.2. And then from here, pretty much algebra, right? So you can, well, what I did actually, I multiply by 5 both sides. So cancel out this. And this one, and then you subtract all of this. Okay? Then we'll get you answer. Now, number 36. What is the x-coordinate of x-intercept? X-intercept means y equals 0. Y-intercept means x equals 0. Remember that? So y equals 0 means this one gone. So then 5 for x equals 1. So x is, when you multiply reciprocal of 5 over 4, 4 over 5. Okay, so answer should be just that. Okay. Next one, number 37. What is the perimeter of equilateral triangle? Height. Let me draw equilateral triangle. Height 5 root 3. Okay. So equilateral triangle is all 60 degrees, right? All 60. So half of this one should be 30 then. So 30, 60, 90. So if you remember, and then in the beginning of this test, they gave you also that information. So for those who forgot the 30, 60, 90 Pythagorean triples, you can look at the beginning of the page, okay? So x, root 3x, and this one 2x. So the root 3x equivalent to 5 root 3, that means x is 5. So that means that this is a 5 here, so that is a 10. And they ask you what is a perimeter. So equilateral triangle, every size same. Okay, so 30 will be your final answer. So using triples, you can get it. 38, y equals negative 3a and then y equals x squared plus 10x plus a. In the system of equation shown, a is a positive constant. And then what is the value of a? Does the system have exactly one distinct real solution? So parabola here, open up, and then this is a, so think about it, y equals negative 3. So that is a horizontal line here, y equals negative 3. And then open upward parabola. We don't know where it is, but this one, we know the location, which is a h value. I'm talking about vertex x coordinate. H is a negative b over 2a. It's good to know if you memorize. Negative b over 2a. So negative 10 over 2a. 2 times 1 is 2. So negative 5. So somewhere here, negative 5. And then it said exactly one real solution. So real solution means their intersection. So how you going to draw one real solution? So it should touch here, right? So the graph looks like this. Okay, so then it'll touch here. So then you're gonna have only one real solution. Okay, graphically that's what it meant. Now, so what is the a value then? Okay. So what I'm gonna do to find the intersection, then I'm gonna set equal to each other. So x squared plus 10x plus a equals negative 3. Okay. To find the intersection, set equal to each other, and then you move one side. So one side you make it 0. 10x plus a plus 3 equals 0. Now for quadrication, to have now only one root, then your discriminant means b squared minus 4ac has to be equal 0. Okay. If discriminant graded 0, that means 2 real roots. The graph looks like it touches twice here. If discriminant equals 0 means one real root. Okay, so that means it will touch here. And if discriminant less than 0, that means no real roots. Okay, or you can say 2 imaginary conjugate, then it's not gonna touch like that. Okay, so then if you get it from here, A value is 1, B is 10, and C is A plus 3. Okay, don't get confused this A. That's the coefficient of x squared. Now B squared, so 10 squared minus 4 times A is 1 and C is A plus 3. That should be equal to 0. So I need to solve for A from there. 100 minus, you distribute negative 4, so negative 4A and minus 12 equals 0. So 88 equals 4A, so A is 22. So that's your final answer. Okay, so what I did is you don't have to actually visualize, but I just try to show you what it meant when you graph it. So you have a parabola and then you have a linear, and it said only one root. That means it should tangentially touches. Okay, so if it tangentially touches, that means you set equal to each other two equation, and then make one side 0, and discriminant b squared minus 4ac has to be equal to 0 because of this reason. And then when you solve for this b squared minus 4ac, only variable is a, and then you can get a. Okay, so that's final answer 22. Okay, that's it for this 2022 March calculator section. Okay, I will see you next test.